Okay guys, welcome back. We just crossed 2,000 subscribers. I gotta give a big thank you to all those who subscribed. If you're watching this for the first time, maybe you consider subscribing. So we haven't done a review on the channel in a while. I like to only review things that I'm actually passionate and interested in. I just don't like to do random reviews. So today we're gonna be talking about The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. Don't worry, there's no huge spoilers in this video. This is not a big spoiler video. But I am gonna touch on little things that might give a little bit away, but nothing, no big spoilers, okay? It's safe. Stay. We have Vera Farmiga and we have Patrick Wilson returning in the roles of Ed and Lorraine. This is the third of the Conjuring movies, the third movie, even though this is probably like the 8th or 7th one in the Conjuring universe. It's a very big Conjuring universe. This one was not directed by James Wan. Instead, we have Michael Chaves filling in as director for this movie. He just did The Curse of La Llorona, so he's not new to the Conjuring universe at all. He's been around. He's worked with James Wan. My understanding is that James Wan actually picked him to direct this film. Screenplay for this one is by David Leslie Johnson-McGoldrick. He's also written on The Conjuring 2 and a lot of other things. So he's also no new person to the Conjuring universe. He's also been involved in the Conjuring universe before. So I found it kind of a surprise when I watched this movie of how I felt at the end of the movie. I found myself kind of bored. That's true. I found myself kind of bored on this one. The way the movie develops and the pacing of the movie, I'm just going to jump right into it, right? Let's just pull the scab, pull the band-aid on this one, show the scab. I was not a fan of this movie. And it's really crazy because if you've been here, you know that I'm a big fan of horror, a big fan of the first and second Conjuring movie, and a big fan of the Conjuring universe, period. But I gotta admit that this movie showed yet again a more of a decline to the Conjuring universe. If you've seen The Curse of La Llorona, you already seen director Michael Chaves' work. Here I thought it was a step up from that movie. Like you could definitely see that he definitely learned a lot from that film. This was his second big feature release. And a lot of people want to compare, obviously going to think to compare him and James Wan's work. And I don't think that's a fair comparison, being that James Wan was already on his 5th or 6th, I think, feature by when he started doing the Conjuring movies. So I don't think that's a fair comparison. I wouldn't even say that I was bored because of direction. I thought that the movie was directed well. And I also thought it wasn't necessarily the problem with the actors. Like, I'm a big fan of Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson and these characters, right? I'm a big fan of them. They're like Scully and Mulder, right? They're dear to my heart when it comes to sci-fi and in this case horror. And I would compare this movie to like a bad episode of The X-Files. That's what I would compare it to. Let me take that back. Not a bad episode, but more of like a filler episode of The X-Files. That's what I would call this movie. This is definitely the worst of the 3 movies, and I think it has to be with the fact that this movie covers a real life event that occurred. And I think since Ed and Lorraine Warren were real people, like sometimes a movie is helped or hurt by the fact that it's surrounding its plot or its story around real events. And I really feel like the director and the writing specifically, because this is what was written, they had to focus on these real life events. And I feel like there wasn't enough high stakes in these events to keep my attention throughout the movie. And I really think like they were really kind of held down. If they didn't have to, I think, deal with this particular case of The Devil Made Me Do It, I think there would have been so many more avenues that they could explore with these characters, and I would have found them more interesting. I just found the pacing as a whole was kind of boring, and I hate using the word boring when I watch a film because you watch a film to be entertained, and I can deal with high tension and suspense, but this wasn't it. I just feel like at times the story was kind of lackluster, like there wasn't something there, and there wasn't anything that we haven't seen that we were like, wow, that's new in horror, and I didn't feel that. And again, Vera Farmiga, Patrick Wilson, everybody, the cast, everybody did their job on this one. My favorite parts of the movie were watching those 2 actors work in these characters. I can watch Ed and Lorraine Warren on film all the time. Like my favorite parts were when they were interacting in the movie. They're not really a big part, a spoiler or anything crazy, but Ed Lorrain's character has kind of a health problem in the movie, and the biggest tension and fear was watching him deal with that health problem. Not anything that happened that was demonic or scary or anything else that happened in the movie. I think that was like the biggest fear that I felt in the movie. It was for the character, and it wasn't because of some external crazy force. I really feel like the stakes were not high enough for this movie. And this is the 3rd movie. You thought that they would build up. Like I said, it's not a bad movie, but it's also not a great movie. And I don't know, if you're a fan, you're gonna watch it. If you're a fan of The Conjuring, you've probably already watched it and you're watching this video because you just wanted to bounce off how you felt. There might be some people who watch the movie and think it's great, but I personally thought that it was lackluster compared to the other two. And that, again, the pacing and the stakes were not high enough at all. When I found like the characters, like there could have been so much more that could have been explored. And I feel like the story itself kind of left a lot to be told. Not told, but like a lot to be explored in other avenues, because I really feel like there should have been more to the story, and like a bigger bad that we had to face or something like that. So those are my thoughts on The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. I feel kind of bad for the Conjuring universe as a whole. Besides Annabelle Creation, I really feel like all the other movies have kind of been like, eh. So there's not the original Annabelle. I wasn't a fan of Annabelle Creation. I thought brought it back up, and Animal Comes Home. Okay, Annabelle Comes Home. Annabelle Comes Home. I thought it was okay, but the other movies, like I really feel like the Conjuring movies are the ones that really lay the basis for this, since they were the original film that started the whole Conjuring universe, and I really feel like they're the cement, the foundation. And when one of those movies kind of like withers, goes down a little bit, then everything else kind of comes down. So I'm really hoping that a movie comes out that brings the whole Conjuring universe up and it pulls it up, because I don't think this was the movie. And like I said, this is the foundation, so I feel kind of bad for that. But I'm hoping that there is another movie in the Conjuring universe that's gonna come, that's gonna bring more excitement, and definitely like want to make us seek more of these movies out. So that's what I thought about The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. Leave me a comment. Let me know how you felt about the movie. Put it down there in the comments. Like I said, I just passed 2,000 subscribers. So thank you if you subscribed. So thank you. What does that mean? I mean, thank you if you subscribed. Anyway, guys, this is the Tone Show. Tone Show. Ah. Ooh.